what can you do with tofu? Hey guys, so I didn't know if any of you guys have the same problem as me, but sometimes I will go to the grocery store and then I will get like boxes and boxes of these tofus, like whether it be like soft tofu or firm tofu or whatever, and I am intending to make something like a healthy meal with it, and then what ends up happening is it's dinner time, I open up the fridge and then I just see these packets and then I get completely uninspired. And so really I'm asking myself, what can you do with plain boxed tofu? So what I'm doing today is I'm doing 7 quick and easy recipes that you guys can do with tofu, be completely inspired, and I will link those recipes to my blog page down below so that you guys can have a bit more detail to each one. So the first one that I love doing to either soft or more of a firmer tofu is pan-fried tofu. What you do is you kind of dip it into a little bit of flour and a little bit of cornstarch, and then you pan fry that with just a little bit of sesame oil so it picks up all of that amazing flavor. So what you end up getting is this really nice and crunchy pieces of tofu, and then you make kind of like a sweetened soy sauce glaze for it and you drizzle it all over, and it's absolutely delicious. It is amazing, and you can really put it together in about like 15 minutes or so. So the second easy thing I love doing to tofu is baking it. Basically 400 degrees, 15 minutes. Typically you will want to be working with the firmer types of tofu and then squeeze out a little bit of that liquid at the beginning and then marinate it. Sometimes I like to do like a soy, honey type marinade, and you just do that for like 15 minutes, put it into the oven, 400 degrees, and afterwards you're completely all set and you get these like really like crunchy but like flavorful cubes that are transformed that you can add to any meal and be really happy with it. The third thing is actually stuffed tofu. My family used to make this for me all the time, and I think it's more of like a traditional Hakka dish where you take soft tofu and you scoop out the middle so that you have like a little cavity inside, and then traditionally you can fill that with a fish paste, but if you're vegetarian or vegan, mash up some beans, put a little bit of flavoring into that, and then put that on, and you could either steam it or bake it a little bit, and you guys have yourself stuffed tofu. And then you guys can just put a little bit of soy sauce over it, and it is just amazingly, amazingly flavorful. The fourth recipe is tofu kimchi soup. You guys know how much I love Korean soup, and this is a super easy recipe. Basically for us vegans, you can take like a simple soup base, you can add a little bit of kimchi, onions, vegetables, really whatever you want, and then add the silken tofu all at the end so that it's like nice and warm and boiling. It's really actually quite hearty and quite filling, and it's lovely because it's also kind of on the tangier side, so I think it aids with digestion as well. The fifth recipe I'm sure you guys are all familiar with, and that is just a basic tofu scramble. So you guys have seen me crumble up a block of extra firm tofu before with a fork, kind of turning it into feta cheese. You can add some turmeric for color and then some nutritional yeast for extra flavor, and it almost kind of really tastes exactly like an egg, and you can pair it with different vegetables and stir fry it a little bit so it's like an omelet, or also pair it with, you know, like tempeh bacon, and you guys have yourself an amazing breakfast or a meal that's quite protein packed. The sixth recipe is one of my favorites to do with tofu, and that is marinating it in the style of tofu poke. I actually have the recipe stuck to my cupboard because I make it so often, and it's just really a little bit of sesame oil, soy sauce, and vinegar, and then you toss the tofu for 15 minutes. You can marinate it up to a couple of hours. You can put it into salads, you can put it into meals, and the best thing about it is that you don't have to cook it at all. After you're done marinating it, you can stick it into the refrigerator and you're basically all set. Now the last recipe has to be dessert. I've seen people do tofu cheesecakes and a bunch of other stuff, but the recipe that I love the most is actually tofu chocolate mousse, because you can make it and then eat it immediately. And basically you just puree some silken tofu and you mix it with some melted vegan chocolate chips. You can go ahead and enrich it with some non-dairy creamer or even like coconut milk, and then add whatever sweetener you want on top of it, because a little bit goes a long way since the chocolate chips are already a little bit sweet. And there you guys have it, 7 quick and easy and also varied recipes that are not going to bore you guys at all. Definitely have a check down at my blog post down below for a little bit more detail and recipes on each of the meals. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!